Sports 1140.
Cattles Ramie, Sactown Sports here at Media Day for the Sacramento Kings, and joining us right now is Kent Bazemore. Kent, how you doing? How's your offseason been?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I took the first quarter off just to rest, relax, heal a little bit. Kind of bounced around last three or four seasons, 2 kids. So it was a lot. So it took some time off to recharge, reset, heal up a little bit, and I'm ready to go.
Now, this is your second stop, as we know, in Sacramento. You were here in 2019. I know Sacramento gets a bad rep, right? I mean, 16 straight years, no playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. What made you want to come back here?
Well, the first time I was here was it kind of reignited a fire in me. The play in the Golden One and to feel the hunger. Everyone was in the same page from the fans and the organization to kind of get over the hump. So I'm all about that. I'm all about being in it, 10 toes down and everyone fighting for, the same purpose. And, that's to end that 16-year drought. And you got to give the front office and the organization a lot of credit for what they've done over the past couple of years, kind of bringing new guys in, Sabonis, huge pickup, see the growth of De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, who I played with in Atlanta.
Yep.
Malik Monk, who I played with last season in L.A., Sky's the limit, Terrence Davis. I mean, we're a very deep team this year, and we got a nice sprinkle of experience and, youth and athleticism. So, obviously, Mike Brown being here, I'm really excited to play for him. We had a nice meeting last night, and he was just kind of filling us in on kind of his principles on the year. And, a lot of things I'm aligned with, and that's what it takes to, build a winning culture. So it's good when your leader is speaking that those type of things.
You brought up culture. Have you noticed a difference in your second go around? I know it's still early, but in terms of the culture and the vibe and the atmosphere when you walked in the building here your second time?
Yeah. I mean, I think this season I had Coach Jimmy fly out to Atlanta, check me out, and we just sat down and had coffee, and I was just kind of picking his brain on kind of the feel around the organization with the coaches. And even when I got back here the second time, first thing I heard was, the new people that came in have the best energy. The energy feels amazing in here. And, you see people walking out and about with the Sacramento Proud towels or a Sac T-shirt on, and everybody's just, chomping at the bit to get after it.
Yeah, Kent Bazemore with us here at Cattles Ramie, Sactown Sports. You mentioned Coach Brown. You obviously have some experience with him.
Yeah.
Tell the people listening, from a player's perspective, who is Coach Mike Brown?
Well, I'll start by saying this is his 31st season in the NBA.
He's been at it for a while.
Exactly. Man.
Man.
So, I mean, one thing you really can't teach or buy in this league is experience. And he's coached on some amazing teams from the Spurs. He's been around some amazing talent. He coached with the Warriors last year. He's seen Steph Curry, saw very young LeBron James. He's been around. He's coached Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
So he's seen, so many different players, and he's learned from so many different coaches. And for him to come here to a team that has the raw ability to do some special things, I really think he's going to inject, with this his presence and kind of his mental fortitude. He's going to inject that into this team, and I think it's going to really be pivotal to get us over the hump.
I think last year at the trade deadline, we saw a change in direction with this roster and where this team was going, and sort of the big two here now is De'Aaron and Sabonis, and obviously you guys all have a role. What do you think is the ceiling for that tandem and those two guys?
It's good. I mean, you look at they're both left-handed too. I was fortunate enough to play with a lefty point guard and a lefty center in college. So it's dangerous. You get those two playing two-man games, and that'll open up the floor for everybody else. Sabonis loves to pass. I mean, I don't know if you guys know who his dad is.
Oh yeah.
I was just talking with
we're both old enough.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, just raw talent. Very, very, very passionate guy. Plays hard. Fox being at the helm, the type of kid he is. I mean, when I left the first time, I was just raving. At the type of guy he was. How selfless he is and his will to win. So. With this being my 11th season, I want to come in and just try to teach him everything I know, offensively, defensively, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we get. I mean, obviously, you have 10 opportunities to make the playoffs, and it's going to be a process. A lot of new faces, a lot of new things we got to implement while playing against other opponents. So It's gonna be a year, it's gonna be a good year if you have the growth mindset, because in the NBA it's all about playing well at the right time. However you start, it's 82 games. However you start, you just build and keep building, and then as the season progresses, you'll start to pick up a little bit of speed, a little bit of rhythm, and roll the dice.
Kent Bazemore is with us. Just a couple more for you, Kent. I know you got to kind of go through the whole deal today at Media Day.
It's all good.
When you look at this basketball team, one of the biggest questions has been defense. They just haven't played defense very well over the past several years. Your calling card when you first came into the league, and I know a little bit about your past. We were talking before we got on the air about ODU, and I worked in that area for a number of years. You're a defensive wing, right? The 3-and-D kind of guy. Looking at this roster and knowing Coach Brown and knowing that he's going to demand defense, do you think that defensive ceiling is higher with this roster that you have?
Yeah, people get that kind of misconstrued a little bit. Defense in the NBA is it's 100% togetherness, and then another 100% of just guys being on the same page, on the string, and playing for one another. A lot of people like to look at the on-court stuff as a culprit of how good a defensive team is, but is this team together? Does this guy play for this guy? Does he care about himself or the team? And I think that the organization's done a good job of getting guys in here that high character guys that just want to win. So I do think you'll see an increase in our defensive effort and intensity, because there's obviously more at stake, and then just guys just want to get after it.
It becomes cliche, but you hear defense is want to, defense is effort. Is that cliche or is that a fact?
That's 100%. That's what I hung my hat on for my entire career. That's what allowed me to keep my foot in the door. It's just giving it all on that end of the floor. And obviously it comes with experience, understanding what we're trying to do as a team defensively, who you're playing against, what type of sets they like to run. How can you disrupt and keep the ball in front without getting yourself out of position and having your team in rotation all night. So there's so many games within a game that we can play on a night-to-night basis. All right, these 5 guys on the floor, when they come out, who do we want taking the shots? So if you're guarding that guy, you can show a little bit more help off the ball. You know what I mean? So it's just so many games that within the game that you can play that can kind of help, with some of the blemishes defensively.
His name's Kent Bazemore, ODU graduate. Ramie learned about ODU today.
Chopping it up for a while.
I think to be a part of this basketball team defensively, shoot the 3 a little bit. Happy you're in town, Kent. I'll talk to you soon. We'll talk to you soon. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, have me on anytime.
So there was Kent Bazemore from Media Day. Great catching up with Kent. Again, I worked in the Virginia Beach area for a few years, and Kent played for Old Dominion, which is right in Norfolk. And when I got in 2012, and when I showed up there, he was already heading into the NBA draft. The NBA draft had just passed. I started working in July of 2012. His draft was June of 2012, and everybody was just talking so highly of him.
It's Norfolk?
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it, Norfolk.
Isn't it F-O-L-K?
Yeah, you don't pronounce it Norfolk.
Really?
Yeah. So when you see play-by-play, people go Norfolk or shows.
Why though?
It's Norfolk. I never got an explanation, but it's Norfolk.
All right.
Some people say it, in a way where it sounds like a curse word. The second part.
Yes.
And you're like, wait a minute, what? Locals do that.
I was very careful.
Norfolk.
Oh, so the locals pronounce it like a curse
Some of
word.
them do.
Okay.
But most pronounce it Norfolk.
All right.
Yeah. So, look, I think Bazemore, again, 3-and-D kind of guy. If you're looking for defense off the bench, he's going to be one of the primary people that could bring that. It'll be interesting to see if he does indeed make the roster. I think he's going to be battling for a roster spot. But he's athletic. He can shoot. He can catch and shoot. He can defend multiple positions. He has experience with Coach Brown, as we talked about during the interview. I thought he was a nice pickup, and he's the perfect example of roster depth, a legitimate NBA player who is not going to be in your top 7 or 8, but a guy who you can go to if somebody gets hurt that you trust. And that's something that this team really did not have last year for most of the season. And that's one of the major changes that I think we're going to see.
He's the symbol of how much deeper